moving towards the closing part of this 2 days event. And we are very privileged and lucky to have our chief guest today. We have Padma Shri Sabarmatee, and we have opened this event through Padma Shri Rai, and now we are closing in presence of Sabarmatee ji. And we are honored to have Dr. Mangi Jat, the Director General of Indian Council of Agriculture Research, as our special guest today. Welcome everyone.
Do all of you follow English, or should I speak in Hindi? Half Hindi, half English. Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Jat, for agreeing to be here, because we thought this is a session where people need to hear from you and also to understand what we have been doing in the last 2 days. And thank you, Madam Sabarmatee ji, for the work that you have been doing, and especially in a place like Orissa, which needs much more effort and work from people like you. Let me begin by saying that this hall represents a lot of wisdom. People from different places have struggled with problems, experimented with initiatives, and come out with successful, albeit small, geographical models. And this represents also in many ways a pathway to combat climate variability in this country. How we use that wisdom and test it against scientific rigor is a question that we will need to address probably going forward. But before I get there, I want to start by saying that we have been talking about a food system transformation in this country and bring in a systems approach into the whole complex of food and agriculture. Many people have told me that India doesn't have a food system. Some people have told me that it won't work in this country. Some people have told me that it's a waste of time that you're doing. But I believe that the first food system was the Green Revolution. And why I say it is that the Green Revolution was not only about increasing production and productivity, but also about giving a fair price to farmers, and also about procuring it and storing it in the Food Corporation of India and distributing it for the needy. Now, if you connect production and consumption through a system, I think that's the beginning of a food system much before the globe started talking about the system. As we grew in confidence, we added several subsystems, nutrition being one of them, multiple other health initiatives being the other. We could probably list a lot of them. But the problem is that, in my view, the nutrition subsystem doesn't talk to the production subsystem. So we really don't know that if production increases, will our undernutrition status improve? That question hangs. And also sometimes we take decisions without a system lens, which we don't understand the impact in its entirety. The recent example is large quantities of maize went into ethanol because the E20 is a policy, but it replaced a lot of soya bean, and it went and affected the poultry. Egg prices went up. So what happens to our protein deficiency in the system? So it's not that the policy is bad. It's important that we understand what the impacts are. The other concern I have is the path towards Vikasit Bharat 2047. Whatever I've seen in the documents of the government and Niti Aayog, it's going to be driven by technology, it's going to be driven by huge growth in the manufacturing and the tertiary services sector. So does that mean that agriculture would continue to have 16-17% of the GDP or even lower, or will it continue to support 45% of the population, and how? And that question will come up when we discuss Vikasit Bharat. So for a Vikasit Bharat, I think a Vikasit Kisan becomes an imperative. Recently, we were together in a seminar. I think Dr. Ramesh Chand had this data that this is the 2019 data, the recent data has not come, that most farmers in India, their income from crops, and even if you add livestock together, is very close to about 50%, and many states less than that. Half the states have about 50% and more, the other half has less. So if you want to increase the income of farmers, should we look at crops and livestock alone, or should we look at other things? The reason why I say this is the other data that shows that the MSP supported crops, the growth rates are very low, whereas the other sectors like dairy, horticulture, fisheries are going up. And this is because the consumer is demanding more of these stuff. So how do we get value for the farmers and nutrition for our people in our growth path? But the biggest challenge to me and the biggest worry to me, which unfortunately has not got the headlines, is the fact that the southwest monsoon this year, first time in its history, crossed Himalayas. Now, what does that imply for India is a question that at least bothers me, and I think it should bother many other people. So when we talk about climate and sustainability, I think this is a question. What will happen to our rainfall pattern is something that we need to address ourselves. And of course, the recent FAO reports point to the soil loss and productivity loss across the world. That again is something that we probably need to consider very much. And how will technology drive growth in agriculture? Will it help? Will it not help? What kind of technologies will help? I think everywhere I go, I hear AI, I hear IoT, I hear drones, I hear many things. But how is it going to be tailored to the benefit of farmers and the people in this country is a question that we need to answer, because technology is neutral. How we use it is in our hands. So I think how is policy going to use technology in the way forward? So Dr. Jat, to you, my suggestion would be that I would request FOLU to document everything that was discussed here, a lot of knowledge and wisdom from different parts of the country, and put it together in a manner in which we can take it forward in terms of connecting it with science. Because why should wisdom go unnoticed, unused, while science takes a path which is of course well known, and of course it has its own discipline, it has its own rigor. But I feel that at the cross-section of wisdom and science, there exists a value. And I think we need to capture that value, and I would look up to your leadership, because I know that in the last few months that you have been in ICAR, a lot of very positive and pleasant changes have been visible. And I would wish you very much that you continue on that path and do the work that we know that you're capable of doing. I would also request you to, at some point of time, to have a one-to-one discussion or a small discussion with us on how this entire traditional wisdom network can connect with KVKs at the local level, and they can be mutually beneficial. It's not that it works one way, and we can really put everybody into a growth path where everybody feels committed and also involved. So with these words, I thank you very much, and I would request Madam Sabarmatee ji to address the gathering. Thank you.
Thank you very much, FOLU, for inviting me here. There are two main villains behind it getting me here. One is Mini, I acknowledge Devi also, who just pressurized me so much that I could not say no. And generally, I shy away from this kind of conferences, meetings, but I now say that if I would not have come here, I might have lost a lot. It's such a rich experience. Though I came late and I just attended only 3 sessions today, it was very, very enriching. and the number of presenters, sessions, all these things you are mentioning. It is really amazing that practitioners have brought all the experiences from the field. And at the end, I was wondering, looking at the agenda, I was wondering what is left there I have to talk about. Everything is really told so well by so many people. So I just want to make very, very few points. See, we are at a very crossroad, big crossroad now, agriculture along with other sectors also. All of us, whatever powerful we may be, whatever rich we may be, when we get up in the morning, we need a meal. At least 3 meals a day. You may be very rich, you may be very powerful, whoever you may be. And it has to be ensured for a longer time if we have to survive. So we often feel happy that our production has increased over the years, and we really feel happy that our granaries are full and overflowing. But at the same time, the hospitals are also overflowing, which disturbs me a lot. Few days back, there was a report that there was 18.3 crore CKD patients. You go to any house, I'll just mention 6-7 names of the diseases. Go to any house, you will find at least one. Acidity, gastritis, then diabetes, hypertension, then heart attack, cancer, kidney failure, paralysis. At least one of these. And then autism, things like the problems like autism is increasing so high, at so high rate. We really get disturbed. It's not only our generation, the unborns are also getting affected. So what kind of food system we are looking at? So this is a big question mark. So we just want more food, or we want safe and nutritious food? Often in the name of development, we also caused disturbance to the self-reliant food systems. They were existing in the traditional way in many villages, which are away from so-called modernization. And now we are looking back at that. So as you mentioned that about the Green Revolution as one of the biggest food transitions, food system transitions. Also in Odisha, I can give you the example of millets. Millet, it started as Millet Mission, Odisha Millet Mission. Now it has known as Shri Naviyan. So millets were considered as the lesser things which people consume, the poor people consume, and now the rich people look for this because of its advertisement, because of the change, because of the efforts that's made both by the government and the non-government and the farmers. Different stakeholders are there. Similarly, are we also thinking of a very safe, let's transition to another food system where I should not be scared that I'll get a cancer tomorrow. My child of maybe 7 years old or 8 years old will get diabetes tomorrow. Should we think about a safe food system? It's not just food system, we look at it, and that will be the biggest contribution. And it should be looked at in a very holistic manner. Just don't look at pest control separately, soil separately, seed separately, things like that. The other thing that disturbs me also, we always often talk that we have this package for the farmer, we have this technology to offer, we have that app to offer, but what we are learning from them? For thousands of years, they also have been doing agriculture, and they know a lot of things which we do not know. We are rather more ignorant than them in many places, many cases. So should we also start learning from them? Do we have an app which will enable us, empower us to learn from the farmers? So I question all these things. If you forget about English language, vernacular language, many tribal people can't even speak the vernacular language of their own state. They are the real farmers who don't know many things about. I consider myself as digitally ignorant as well. So I don't have much digital literacy. So in that way, if you look at the whole scenario, many things are coming from the policy side, from the technology side, on which we don't have control. We don't know where it is going to lead us. AI, you have already mentioned those things. AI, robotization and digitalization and so many technologies are there on the plate. We just want to sell it to the farmers. How much we can sell our technology to the farmers. But we also need to think about a safe and self-reliant food system, and that will be the real green revolution, I'll say that. It's not just filling up the stomach with something. And it should be mostly focusing on the locally available materials. It's not just having loaded with any poisons. If I ask, I always start this question when I discuss with the farmers. I ask this question, please raise your hand if any of you, unless you have a suicidal tendency, if any of you want to consume poison as a choice. And no one literally raises the hand. And then my next question is, would you like to feed knowingly, given a choice, would you like to feed poisonous things to your family members, your community members, or the consumers who are buying things from you? You may say that I want money. I don't mind whose child gets cancer. But I produce 3 things, 4 things. I sell that, chemically grown things. And then I buy another 15, 20 things from the market. And those farmers who are selling us those products also must be thinking in that way. I want money, I don't bother who gets diabetes or cancer or heart attack. Should that be the attitude of us? So I know that I'm not going to tell all these things to you because you are all aware of all these developments, all these things. So genetically modified organisms are coming, crops are coming, AI is coming, weather engineering is coming. If I celebrate a drone Didi for achieving so much, earning so much money, how do I protect my water source? How do I protect my crops? How do I protect my health? How can I ensure that it is not troubling me as the neighboring farmer? So there are a lot of questions regarding the technologies we are going to have, which are not in hand. There are many policy issues as well. Like if you go to a real farmer in the village, I don't think that the farmer will tell anything about the seed bill that is coming. That farmer will tell about the PPVFRA or NBPGR, whatever policies that are coming up. We want to register them as this farmer, that farmer, natural farmer, organic farmer, things like that. We want certification. And when we certify, we insist that organic products and natural products must be certified. But why should not we insist that the brinjal sold next to me is also, why it is not certified? It's not certified as the chemically grown brinjal. So they get all subsidies. The subsidy pattern, the incentive pattern is designed so that as an organic farmer, as a small and marginal farmer, I don't really get much benefit out of it. If I buy a tractor, I get the subsidy or say incentive, whatever it is. But if I have my own bullock cart, I don't get it. If I make my own compost, I don't have any subsidy. But if I buy chemical fertilizers, I get a subsidy. So should we create a kind of environment for the producers as well as for the consumers to buy and consume and produce safe food? So हमारा एक छोटा सा काम है जहाँ हम बोलते हैं कि अच्छा खाएंगे अच्छा खिलाएंगे. So how to reduce the concept of agroecology to the simplest form of making people understand. It's like अच्छा खाएंगे अच्छा खिलाएंगे. So it's going to the hearts of the people. They started appreciating. When we say अच्छा खाएंगे, it emphasizes on the nutrition issue. महिलाएं ज़्यादा खेती करते, women really contribute a lot to the farming, but they are mostly malnourished. If you look at the whole malnourishment scenario, women and children. So first अच्छा खाएंगे, हम लोग खुद अच्छा खाएंगे और बाकी लोगों को भी अच्छा खिलाएंगे. अच्छा खिलाएंगे मतलब it's not just for human beings. It's always anthropocentric. We always have emphasized on the human beings. What I want, what I want, what I want. It's not, I don't care about the soil. I don't bother if a drongo dies or if a vulture dies. I don't bother about that. It should be responsible production system so that I don't kill anybody in the system. I don't make others sick. If I don't have to kill the soil, if I don't have to kill the water, if I don't have to kill the flora and fauna that is feeding me, if I don't have to kill the air, then I will go for a safer production system so that acha khayenge and acha khilayenge will be successful. So with this, I want to stop, and thank you so much for giving a patient hearing. By saying all these things, I am not pessimistic. Rather, I challenge you to think about it and go for a better system. Thank you.
Dr. Nandakumar ji, Madam Sabarmatee ji, colleagues, friends, good afternoon. First of all, let me thank FOLU and especially you, sir, for this opportunity. Almost lost opportunity because I'm at the end. I haven't come to tell something new to you. Rather, I thought by now everything is distilled, synthesized, I'm a taker. So I came here to take what transpired in this discussion. Because this topic is not only important for us, but this is important for whole of the humanity. And I think we have done a lot, as Madam indicated. We can be happy with what we've been doing. We can cherish on our achievements. But I think we have to look back what we have lost. And from that perspective, I think we need to think together. The time has gone when we can afford to be in silos, in isolation. We have to break these silos. We can't afford silos. And when we talk about breaking these silos, agriculture is so complex. And there are so many elements, and everybody wants to do miracles in isolation. We can try, but it's very difficult. Because we are trying to address the complex challenges. The complex challenges of, and you all know about those, but still I have to say something, so I'm saying, of climate change, of land degradation, of water, of agrobiodiversity, of aging farmers, growing youth, so there is a disconnect, of the health of the people, and on top of that, you see the global scenario, the geopolitical environment, and the global economic shifts. And on top of that, when we are visioning for developed India by 2047, and I think agriculture or the agri-food system is one of the strongest pillars for that. So if we don't set our directions right, I think it's going to be a difficult task. Now we are talking about transformation of the food system. And for that transformation to happen, I think we need a shared vision. We need collective action for advancing, from our perspective more particularly, the system science, the participatory innovations, and that's what you've been deliberating, a greater partnership and enhanced capacity of the stakeholders. So those are the key elements of that transformation to happen. for building a resilient food, land, and water systems, while protecting, conserving, and restoring the ecosystem. And this is a lot. And that cannot happen in isolation. And that's why I say we need shared vision and collective action. I think we need to transition from our approach acting at a plot level on a commodity to a landscape in a system. And that transition is something very, very critical for food system. If we keep acting at the plot level, it's very difficult to have the food system. We also need to transition from our individualistic approach, focus, to the community-based approach. अकेला चना भाड़ नहीं फोड़ सकता, सबको इकट्ठा होना पड़ेगा. And I think we need to bring together the power of that collectiveness, because we are dealing again the complex aspect, the agriculture or the agri-food system. Now, agriculture should not be seen from the perspective of the food and the calories. We at Indian Council of Agriculture Research are trying to put agriculture for food. That's a new norm, for health. Agriculture for health, that's a new norm. And agriculture is preventive for the diseases. There was a report recently, I think 2 weeks back from ICMR, indicating 56% of the chronic diseases are because of the food. So rather than getting ill and treating it, we have to have agri-food system to prevent it. And I think agriculture's role should be seen from that perspective. It's contributing immensely not only for the filling the belly of the people, but from a larger perspective. We also need to think, when I say transitioning from the plot to the landscape and from individual to the communities, we also need to think seriously about how to strengthen our local food system, which is rich, which is healthy. In our excitement of this monotonous system, we have lost the local food system. And I think we have to bring back the local food system. Local food system not only from the perspective of the health and nutrition, but also from the perspective of the ecosystem, our natural resources. But I think we have to prepare for that. Now, for that local food system, the quality and quantity inverse relationship is a challenge. We should ensure that farmers get better prices for those nutritious and healthy food. We've been working, our Honorable Prime Minister just recently on the ASTIC opening, highlighted a few things which are very much relevant to this topic. More of the biofortified and nutritious varieties, the biodiversity, the soil health, the biologicals. And I think everything is related to this whole food system. But the issue is, we have those biofortified varieties of wheat and rice, and wheat varieties are up to 60% acreage as of now. But then our system, we have to procure and bulk it. So I think we are lost. Because there is no premium, there is no specific arrangement. We don't know what is going where. I was thinking connecting soil health So soil to the gut microbiome kind of a relationship. And I was lost a bit. Because soil health is poor in Punjab and Haryana. It rich, good soils in Bihar, East, but the health is different. And the reason is the food produced somewhere and consumed somewhere. And that's why I was talking about, can we strengthen our local food system a bit, which is produced there and consumed there, which can be healthy. But at the same time, we are dealing a larger diversity. When we talk about agriculture, it's a diversity. Diversity of the crops, diversity of the farming systems, diversity of the soil, diversity of the agroclimatic conditions, diversity of the people, the farmer circumstances, their socio-economic conditions. Everything is diverse. And I think to deal with that diversity, there is no silver bullet. There is no recipe. There is no one size fits all. And that's where many times we are lost. I want my silver bullet. It should fit everywhere, but that's not the case. So to deal the diversity, I think appropriate targeting, clearly defined domain, considering all elements of the sustainability is something very, very important. At times, we are also lost in the jargon of the terminologies and definitions and ideologies. Farmer has nothing to do with that. We have discourses. And I think the forums like this can serve as a discourse coalition. We cannot be definition-centric. We should be outcome-centric. What outcomes are needed? You need to restore your soil, improve, sequester organic matter, increase water retention into the soil, enhance the biodiversity, increase the income of the farmer. Those are the outcomes. And whatever help me in doing that, I don't care what you call it. We call it natural farming, agroecology, integrated farming system, organic farming, nature positive solutions, and number of definitions, terminologies are there in the market. What farmer will do with that? And that create confusion because of our own biases. Our biases are negatively impacting the end users, which is our farmer. So I think we should work with an open mind, be receptive, because in agriculture, again, to deal with that diversity, there is nothing like good or bad, and there is nothing like right or wrong. It all depends. Somebody asked me, I'm an agronomist, somebody asked me, what is agronomy? I said, very simple, it depends. That's agronomy. Because in agronomy, it all depends. What seed rate, where, what depth, depends on the moisture, on the soil type. You know, all those things, it all depends, and that's agriculture. But that depends, we have to define, rather than a silver bullet again. So, the extremes, many times we are in the extremes, this way or that way, are not good. We have to find a path. From this topic's perspective, I'm fond of this. And I think it's very, very important for our future, for our secured future. We cannot be in isolation. And that's where the system matters. And we have to be in a system. And that system includes from here to here, everything. We have to cultivate the culture to be in a system. Now, it's difficult. The 5 members in a family use 3 TVs in one home. So we are in that world. But I think we can't sustain in isolation. We are trying to focus all our research in a kind of a systems perspective. I cannot deal the pest management in isolation and agronomy in isolation. I cannot deal natural farming in isolation and breeding something different in isolation. I have to breed what can fit in natural farming. So it should be demand driven rather than a supply driven. And I think demand comes from there. And we have to respond to the demand. We are trying our level best to respond to the demand. But we need everybody's contribution, suggestion, support, feedback to set our research which can really help our end users. And just not the research, but I think research not for the sake of research, the research which is delivered at the end users. And that's what we are trying to do. But in this particular field, I think still not many people understand this properly. The capacity development is core, is key. We have to create more of the awareness in different languages. Madam, you use different, very simplified language of the system. So wherever we are, I think we have to make people understand what do we mean by this food system. But food system is the future, our future, humanity's future. Thank you so much for this opportunity, but I look forward for all the outputs from this dialogue, and we make use of those in shaping our research. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jat. I think it was a very inspiring address. In fact, when you see these 79 presentations, you will find there is at least one positive, if not more, in each of them. Either saving water or saving soil or increasing income or restoring moisture, all of them. I think so. When we compile this and present it to you, I think you're getting a treasure of knowledge distilled over a period of time from across India. So thank you very much. Now we have a book release function. Hari, would you like to?
Thank you, sir. Now the second segment of this event, that is book release, Rice Farming and Climate Change, Making Rice Agriculture Sustainable in India, a guide for agriculture practitioners. While we are setting up for a good photographs with this book, I'll request Hari to speak a little bit about the book.
Thanks, Hari. It is just 2 minutes. About the book, Dr. Nayak is going to speak after the release. This is how it came up. We were having a good interaction at CRRA about the interventions which should be done in rice cultivation areas. Dr. Nayak scientifically gave a 1 hour long class to 4 of us, and we thought it should be written well and published. Thanks to Dr. Nayak and team, they gave a beautiful scientific publication, and I thank Shri Narmada Khare to convert it into a very simple language in this way, and so for illustrations, another friend of us. So we made it into a very simple, easy, understandable book. Thanks to Vijay for inspiring us to publish it also in Hindi, and this is what being released here. Thank you, everyone.
A very good afternoon to everybody. In continuation to this food summit, this particular book is again not having a silo, rather breaking a silo. So all of us know that rice constitutes important component of our food system in India, and traditionally rice has been considered as a source and sink of greenhouse gas emission. It acts as a both source and sink. As some time ago, our RRAN is telling that rice is a culprit. No, absolutely not. But it acts as a source and sink. and over more than 44 million hectare of rice, Indian agriculture land is under rice. In fact, last year it was 50 million hectare, and we are producing 150 million ton of rice in this country. And we are facing a twin challenge. One is to ensuring food and food security. Other is how we can this contribution of agriculture to the climate change, how we can contain that. The other challenge is we are having a fragmented understanding how the soil, water, microbes, and our management practices that contribute to the release of greenhouse gas from our agricultural field. So in this background, this particular book is written, which will help to the farmers, civil society, and the policymaker to understand how rice farming contributes to the climate change, and more importantly, how it can be a part of the solution. It's not that rice is a culprit, it can be a part of the solution. The book was conceived to bridge the gap between science, policy, practice, and translating decades of research that is conducted by ICAR Institute, particularly Central Rice Research Institute. Again, to bring new scientific insight into the very complex biophysical processes and offer an actionable strategy for sustainable rice intensification that align with India's climate change goal. So this book offers a significant insight that explains how rice fields produce greenhouse gas such as methane, nitrous oxide, how these emissions can be mitigated through better soil, water, and fertilizer management, and it can provide a context-specific solution. Offers guidance for rain-fed and irrigated system from upland to lowland, dealing how each landscape can be managed for optimal climate and livelihood outcome. Similarly, it provides a farmer-centric and focus, addresses farmers' practical concerns around feasibility, cost, yield, risk, suggesting pathway for policy incentives such as carbon funds and climate financing to make sustainable choices viable. It also provides vision for future, advocates for a national approach that combines scientific soil testing, zone-specific advisory, incentives, mechanism to help India move towards climate-smart, low-emission rice system. In fact, this book is contribution of a collective efforts of many authors, and this is one example that how breaking the silo, working in a convergence that can help and bring a beautiful publication. Of course, most of the time, scientists, they provide very scientific jargon, those terms and terminology, it is difficult to understand by general people. But this platform provided opportunity, and many people, those who are having expertise, to convert these complex scientific knowledge into a very simple, lucid, and understandable way. And this book has come out both in Hindi and English, and I think all of you will love enjoying reading this book. Thank you very much.
Sorry everyone for being 2 minutes late. अभी हमारा पूरा कार्यक्रम का फाइनल कल्मिनेशन पॉइंट में हम आने वाला है, और मेरे को 10 और 15 बार पीपल ये ओवरऑल प्रोग्राम में पूछा है कि ये नॉलेज से आप क्या करने वाला है ना. 70-80 presentations are here and we are looking for more inputs, and ये 80 से क्या करने वाला है आप. हम एक्चुअली ये 80 पोस्टर्स को टारगेट नहीं कर रहा है, हम 8 लाख पोस्टर को टारगेट कर रहा है, और ये 8 लाख पोस्टर्स को रहने के लिए, बाकी लोगों को इंटरैक्ट करने के लिए, आपस में इंटरैक्ट करने के लिए हम एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने का उद्देश्य कर रहा है. और ये प्लेटफॉर्म का एक क्रूड फॉर्म हम अभी आज आपको दिखाएंगे. आपका फीडबैक हम मांग रहा है, and we slowly will progress. If you have a buy-in, you people like it, you people want it. However, before moving into that particular section, before हम जो final डेमो प्रोडक्ट दिखाने से पहले हमारा पार्टनर्स है इधर WRA India, CEEW, TERI and RRAN. बहुत मेहनत किया है हमारा पार्टनर्स टू मेक दिस पोस्टर्स इंटरैक्टिवली डिस्प्लेड एंड प्रेजेंटेड। सो हम जानना चाहते हैं हमारा पार्टनर्स से ये इवेंट कैसे थे पहले, है ना, और दे हैव सीन द पोस्टर्स। वो पोस्टर का इंटरेक्शन भी वही देखा, मैंने नहीं देखा ज़्यादा। सो पहले हम जानना चाहते हैं हमारा पार्टनर से ये इवेंट कैसे लगा। इसके बाद हम ये पूरा कार्यक्रम को कहाँ लेके जा रहे हैं का डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन करेगा, और आपसे जानना चाहते हैं इसके बाद आपको कैसे लगा, आपको सजेशंस कैसे है, ठीक है। सो एज द नेक्स्ट सेशन हाइलाइट्स बाय द पवेलियन पार्टनर्स, आई इनवाइट Apoorve Khandelwal from CEEW, Dr. Manish Anand from TERI, Dr. Sampriti Baruah from WRA India, Dr. Abhishek Saxena from RRAN. हमारे साथ डॉक्टर श्याम विश्वनाथ भी जुड़ा हुआ है। डॉक्टर श्याम विश्वनाथ हैज 3 peculiarities. एक, डॉक्टर श्याम अपने आप एक ट्रेन्ड साइंटिस्ट है। सेकेंड, डॉक्टर श्याम प्लीज अभी एक सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर रिजनरेटिव एग्रोफॉरेस्ट्री प्रैक्टिस कर रहा है, और डॉक्टर श्याम ऐसा कर रहा है खुद का हैप्पीनेस के लिए कर रहा है। इधर जितना प्रेजेंटेशन था उसमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सस्टेनेबल लाइवलीहुड के लिए कर रहा है, लेकिन डॉक्टर श्याम ने ओपनली बोला कि मेरा सेटिस्फैक्शन के लिए कर रहा है। And he has interacted with many of those people who are brought these practices for improving the sustainability of livelihoods. So हम finally Dr. श्याम से सुनना चाहता हूँ कैसे लगा, and I am requesting you all to be as critical, as appreciated, whatever way you want to see it, because for FOLU means it's your own organization, it is a learning, and for FOLU it's basically the first response which we are getting by ending this event. So I would invite first Apoorve.
सभी को नमस्कार। कुडोज हरी फॉर ट्राइंग हिंदी। मैं भी हिंदी से शुरुआत करूंगा, कब इंग्लिश में स्विच हो जाए मुझे पता नहीं। बहुत मुश्किल काम है जो हमें दिया गया है। 25 प्रेजेंटेशंस थी ग्राउंड पर। आप सब जो काम कर रहे हैं उससे हमने सीखा, आप सब ने एक दूसरे से सीखा। आई ट्राई टू डू अ सिंथेसिस। देयर आर डिफरेंट वेज टू डू द सिंथेसिस ऑफ व्हाट वी नोटेड। एक तरीका ये है जब हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि यदि हम सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर की तरफ जा रहे हैं, व्हाट दिस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन वुड लुक लाइक। लास्ट पैनल में डिस्कस हुआ। पहला इंपॉर्टेंट डायमेंशन ये है कि सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर लेबर इंटेंसिव है, रिस्क इंटेंसिव है और नॉलेज इंटेंसिव है। देन वी आर रिफ्लेक्टिंग कि डिड वी गेट सॉल्यूशंस टू सॉल्व फॉर लेबर इंटेंसिवनेस, नॉलेज इंटेंसिवनेस एंड रिस्क इंटेंसिवनेस। कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जांपल्स निकल कर आए, मैं आपके सामने रखूँगा। लेबर एंड ड्रजरी पे सेल्को फाउंडेशन ब्रॉट आउट द मल्टी पर्पज टूल बार दैट एड्रेसेस वेरी हाई कॉस्ट्स इन लेबर एंड फिजिकल स्ट्रेन। जो सगुना रिजेनरेटिव SRT, सगुना रिजेनरेटिव टेक्निक है, दे ब्रॉट आउट पर्टिकुलरली इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द विमेन लेड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन दैट वी वांट। वो विमेन सॉर्ट ऑफ एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन अपने जो फोर्स ऑन विमेन हो जाए। सो हाउ कैन दीज ड्रजरी सॉल्विंग इक्विपमेंट्स कैन कम अप। आई थिंक दैट वाज अ इंटरेस्टिंग सॉल्यूशन। रिस्क मिटिगेशन पे वी सॉ हाउ REVA, which is working on coming up with this ecosystem of SHGs and the network that is solving for market demand and guaranteed offtake. Knowledge intensiveness pe we saw how Cholapur Kalyan FPC is emphasizing skill training and creating women-led nurseries, satellite nurseries, जो local varieties को nurture कर सकें, grow कर सकें, so that it does not become a centralized top-down way of penetrating certain varieties, but local varieties can be sustained. दूसरा important dimension है क्या ये एक multi outcome transformation बन सकता है। Are we only solving for yields or production, or also solving for livelihoods, also solving for nutrition? और हमने ये देखा कि जो initiatives, multiple outcomes को focus कर रहे थे, they were finding success. Sichuan Foundation demonstrated while organic rice yields might be slightly lower than inorganic, net returns उनके अभी भी ज़्यादा थे due to lower input costs, and it also improved soil organic carbon. So livelihoods or environment outcomes were seen together. Sputnik Farms focuses on reviving indigenous roots and tuber crops. So not only solving for biodiversity, but also solving for and reintroducing nutrient-dense, climate-hardy food sources back to our diets. So multiple outcomes became very clear in some of these presentations. तीसरा important dimension था, and Dr. Jat was speaking about breaking silos. Convergence and local governance came up in the presentations in this track. Interesting one was how public and private partnership can solve for sustainable transition. ANGR Agriculture University collaborated with Nature.farm to scale AWD. Now they have been able to save 1 million liters of water per acre. Convergence with multiple departments came up. आस्था महिला एवं बाल विकास संस्था जिन्होंने SRLM और एनिमल हस्बेंड्री डिपार्टमेंट के साथ मिलके दे सिक्योर्ड क्रेडिट लाइंस एंड सर्विसेज फॉर SHG. Local governance, obviously, आमचे आरोग्य साथी brought out how they are empowering decision making by women via local institutions like seed banks and custom hiring centers. But सबसे बड़ा जो challenge है agriculture में, which is how do we scale without losing the local diversity, localization, and do not fall prey to homogenization, standardization. Difficult task, but उसके लिए कुछ solutions निकल के आने लगे हैं. For example, Sputnik Farms were talking about routing for tubers festivals and how they are doing local partnerships to create local partnerships with restaurants to create demand for diverse products. I think unless we solve for the demand side and diversity in demand, the diversity in the production cannot be solved. Satellite units, satellite nurseries की बात की हमने, जो centralized system से connected but satellite units हैं, जैसा चोलापुर कल्याण FPC कर रहे थे for nurseries. Also, a very interesting model from NEFSAS, where they have set up agroecology learning centers to allow farmers to experiment and discuss them and then bring those indigenous practices and get them validated, such as tobacco residues and wood ash and soaring solutions that were locally suitable for the ecology. Anyways, I think it's very difficult to sum up all of this. Some questions are getting answered, but कुछ प्रश्न भी वापस अभी हैं जिनके हमें आंसर्स शायद अगले फूड सिस्टम समिट में मिलेंगे और उसके बाहर हमें ढूंढने होंगे. पहला जो जिससे शुरुआत भी हुई थी पहले सेट ऑफ पैनल्स में था कि how does this become truly women led transformation, not a transformation forced on women, and are we solving for enough are we come up with enough solutions? क्या institutional capacity है system में to do bottom up innovation? We are still tuned for top down dissemination, lab to farm, but जैसा पद्म श्री मैडम ने बताया, bottom up, do we have institutional capacity? I think that is a big question still, and the question that how do we scale truly without losing or falling prey to standardization, homogenization, and centralization, because that's truly sustainable agriculture. With those questions, let me stop here.
Good afternoon to all. As Apoorve said, it's a big task to summarize the pavilion that we have been managing for 2 days. A lot of topics, a lot of presentations, insights, and I mean, some of them were just so good. We have learned so much, and a mutual sharing session. And at least for the WRI Pavilion, I can say the questions never stopped coming. I mean, there were that much of interaction. Time seemed less for us. So to summarize, we had overview speakers for almost all sessions, and the overview speakers have also summarized. So I have taken it from what the overview speakers have said in different sessions to put it together for all of you. To summarize the WRI India Pavilion's discussion, what came out most importantly is that sustainable agriculture production is no longer a question of whether. Whether we want to do this is understood, it's gone. We really have to do this is the realization, and it has been underlined in all presentations. So it is about how fast we can do it, how well we can do it, and at what scale we can do it. Repeatedly, most of the overview speakers have underlined one point of scaling. Everybody have said pilot is one thing, but what about scaling? So by when can we scale, and to scale, what does it take? That's the question that is posed right now in front of us, and it's a difficult question because agriculture is so context specific. So the different overview speakers also highlighted that sustainability succeeds only when it makes economic sense for farmers, investment sense for governments and markets, and ecological sense for landscapes. Scaling sustainable agriculture, therefore, requires us to move beyond pilots and demonstrations, as I've just said, and towards a more systemic adoption pathway, which Dr. Jat also just said a few minutes back, a more systemic way of thinking how we can take the middle ground of reaching to so many and contextualizing things which are spread across different agroclimatic and agroecological zones. And which will deliver measurable return of investments. I would like to quote Mona Lisa Sen yesterday, one of our overview speakers. So she underlined that all this is okay, beautiful pilots, but agriculture is also, we have to count the numbers. It has to make profit for the ones who is doing it. So what is the return on investment? For all the technology that we are talking about, for all the work, all the new techniques, so the ROI cannot be ignored while we are talking about all other benefits encompassing the work that we want to do. I would also like to quote Mr. Amba Jamir, another overview speaker, who very rightly said that pilots happen in insulation, and only pilots cannot lead to successful transition or scaling. He also said only technology or finance is also not enough. What is important, we respect the main key stakeholders of this agriculture that we are talking about are the farmers. So we respect how farmers think, understand how farmers decide what they decide, and learn how farmers adapt. That brings us to the context of who the farmer is. So the context of a female farmer, when we say we want women to adopt a certain technology, a female farmer having her own land, the context varies from a female farmer who is a tenant. So a female farmer who is a tenant may adapt to certain different technologies because of her context. So unless we engage with that and understand that reality, it will be very difficult for us to bring in this transition at a scale. And it may seem complex when we are saying that we want to scale. At the same time, we are saying that there is so much of diversity in the field. That's the path we need. That's the middle ground we need to think more deeply about. Diversity and scaling together. Scaling also requires us to contextualize the technology and not to universalize it. And technology, we need to understand technology as an enabler. So digital tools, precision water management, improved seed systems, mechanization, all this needs to be aligned with local agrological ecologies, farm sizes, gender roles, and risk capacities. Another very important component that came out in all presentation is what is the risk capacity of the stakeholder group we are engaging with. Also, a credible transition pathway must integrate traditional and indigenous knowledge with modern science. I think that's also a key takeaway from the presentations in our pavilion, that modern science, as much as it has shown us a great path of growth, we need to bring in the diversity and the indigenous knowledge, and that's what I think Sabarmatee Tikriji has also mentioned, that what about indigenous knowledge, bringing in the indigenous knowledge, and how do we take it forward, learn from the farmers, and take that learning seriously, what is on the ground. And the 79 posters presented in these 2 days was also a very good example of bringing local knowledge to a platform where we discuss it together. And it has come from all states, all different corners of India. The last point that I want to highlight from the pavilion is community action. We have realized that community action is where is the engine of this scale. The scaling effort, the engine lies in community action. We cannot leave the community apart and do a top-down and just go forward thinking that this is the way and this is a new strategy, new path, or a new policy which can be universally implemented across the country. Thank you.
Thanks, Sampriti. Let me invite Dr. Manish.
Namaskar and good afternoon to all. So thanks, Hari. So before I reflect on the rich set of presentations in the sessions we had looked into, so one thing has clearly emerged and we should cheer about it is that food systems transformation that we are talking about is already happening on the ground, and these are being led by farmers, pastoralists, communities and women also. And we have witnessed this in the sessions जो हमने अभी इतने presentations को सुना, and there were a lot of excitement and more in terms of queries regarding how to scale it up, what are the science part of it. And so it was very rightly talked about that we need to bring in how to blend this traditional with the modern science. And that's where Dr. Jat has also talked about, Nandakumar has also talked about, that we need to see how this cross linkages can happen. And that's where I think one of the key takeaway from the session is there. I won't go into all the details of the presentations and the sessions which we have, and there was rich set across, say, more in terms of the soil, nutrient and water management, where we had talked about more in terms of we need to have a systems thinking approach. And since I had attended also lots of ICAR related conferences, what I see important difference here is also there was a lot of, in the technology centric presentations also, there was a lot of systems thinking which has gone into behind that. So which is a good way of looking at more in terms of how this technology practices are being adopted on the ground, what are the systems which are facilitating that. Having said that, like in one of the practices which was the green manuring, or maybe one very important practices was the low cost technological practices of strategic pruning in integrated P's and P management, which was very low cost, but it was very cost effective, and being adopted, it gives good yield. So without such kind of low cost technological interventions needs to be promoted. So, and this also had beneficial impacts more in terms of the reduced input usage. So that nexus element has also needs to be brought about into this. We also had a very rich discussion on the indigenous traditional knowledge systems beyond the traditional community-led traditional seed banks, and also on traditional water resource management and all. We had success case studies from the Ahar Pine system in Bihar, practiced in Bihar, and the challenges associated with it more in terms of if it is encroachment, if it is not related to proper forestry plantations on the upper banks. So that needs to look at from a systems thinking perspective more in terms of when we are talking about conserving such practices. And the element of community-led water governance, which was also very important when we are talking about water use efficiency and water equity to all. We also had a very rich discussion on how to conserve traditional community-led indigenous varieties related to paddy, also some of the non-BT cottons also in different parts of India, from eastern part also and from the southern part. So the key element was that these are also very much important from the climate adaptation and resilience perspective. And we need to focus more on that in that perspective. Then water has also emerged as a very cross-cutting theme. And one important session was also linking with the nutrition aspect, the nutrition security, because we are now talking about nutrition security, and Dr. Jat has also talked about agriculture for health. So this is ये एक बहुत ही important मुद्दा है, and there is a lot of need of systems thinking also on that front. And there are in the sessions we had good discussions on more in terms of the indigenous varieties, how they are contributing to nutrition security, but also in terms of the biofortified varieties. And biofortified varieties performance from the CGI system in Bihar was also discussed in detail, but also more in terms of the issues and challenges when it comes to the yield versus the nutrient, and also adoption at the farm level are some of the issues which we witnessed. Although we could not discuss much because there was so much excitement among the audience about the questions, and so we could not do justice in terms of the time given to all the speakers. But we look forward to further engaging and learning from such systems. So in terms of when I try to sum up the key findings, key takeaways from the session, one first is that resilience is built through diversity. So for that we need this kind of bottom-up approach. So be it with crops, seeds, breeds, practices, all this, we need resilience through diversity. And then the second is the community and locally led activities outperform the one-size-fits-all model. So, and since the DG has also talked about that we need localized production consumption systems, how can we foster that? And we had witnessed this in the presentations and the sessions which we witnessed, that these are the community-led, women-led in some of the cases, and these are performing very well. But there are also challenges and issues and how in terms of the, and also scaling up issues related to that. So we need to focus our lens on that rather than just focusing on the top-down models. The third is that the integrated systems-based approach, that a siloed thinking, even when we are talking about a traditional seed variety, an integrated approach is needed, where, be it in terms of the value chain creation, market linkages, the processing facilities for that, and this has come out very well in the sessions that the need for processing for traditional varieties also in the local areas is, if it is not existing, then the farmers are not getting into that. Then another important is that enabling regeneration and long-term resilience also requires policy and market support. And so all the systems which we have encountered, the presentations which were, the need for market linkages was something which has time and again propped up and come into picture, and how to do that. So locally led production consumption was one, but when it's scientifically led and also more in terms of provided that standardization and labeling support, it's also going to distant markets. So bringing in that kind of element and wherever place specific opportunities exist becomes very important. It's not that the food systems that we are talking about is not happening. It's good to see that it's moving on the ground, but the more is the need to recognize, support such systems and mainstream that systems. So I'd close my...
So good afternoon all of you. Over the past 2 days, RRA's pavilion actually saw quite, and I'm sure other pavilions also did, but it was a good, very diverse kind of presentations, right from Rajasthan and Kutch, talking about camels, very specific breeds of camels, to an experiment in the backwaters of Kerala where they were trying to introduce something new on our plate, known as bivalves or mussels, which are not common in Indian cuisines. Then there were examples of from Central India trying to work on various models. A few themes that are also themes that we look from RRAN's perspective. When we look at our work, which were recurring, actually were this focus on integrated farming systems. A lot of talk was about integrating fisheries, poultry, and small ruminants or goatries along with multi-cropping and multi-layered cropping. So that was a happy I was happy seeing those kinds of posters coming up and being discussed. Then, another thing or other theme that came up was that of risk and resilience, climate resilience, as well as resilience to shifts in the market. There was, more and more focus on systems approach. Like I remember the very first presentation from, and there were various kinds of stakeholders, right? From a KVK in Ambala to like a social enterprise in working in Bikaner and Jaisalmer to, civil society, etc. The focus was on a systemic approach. A lot of them were talking about bioregions, landscapes, and, circularity, both in terms of on-farm circularity. So a lot of focus was on how do you, do not, like today morning only, there was a very good presentation where they were trying to, talk about the idea of not providing external or extra irrigation. They were trying to talk about mulching and, conserving the soil moisture while moving on to the next crop after the season is over for the previous crop. Then there were examples from yesterday. I remember somebody was, presentation was talking about, or today morning only. So there was this thing about financing, not, focusing on the project, but financing, understanding the bioregion, the farmer's need, and actually the life cycle, or the life cycle of the crop, or the the entire cycle of how camel breeders or pastoralists move around, what is their relationship with the camel, etc. That was there. There were some unanswered questions also, and we had a good discussion actually about in a session today, earlier today, on bioinput and bioinput resource centers. There was some talk about standardization of and certification of bioinputs, and understanding, especially when you talk about organics. So the relationship between the ideal CFU counts, if they are being tested or not, and then they are being applied. So those discussions were great, and I think further work, scientific work, as well as testing them on the ground with the farmers is needed towards that. One thing which is also personally I'm very much interested, and it also came up in the discussions, was that these were all great innovations and tested on the ground in a particular agroecological region, which is very good. But when you try to scale up, and the speaker before me also said that often when we talk about, when we start talking about linkages to the market, we have various approaches, FPOs or SHG-led federations, or at times, yesterday I remember there was a farmer who, there was a speaker who was talking about a small community-owned brand. Now, beyond a point, such brands face a lot of challenges in the market. So that frontier remains open. More talk needs to happen about what after we harvest, naturally grown, safe food, and how do we market it. Yeah, I would end my reflections here.
Thank you, Sheikh. In fact, I think the partners who led the major part of this effort are excited and so generous to FOLU. Not too much critical things have come up from them. Rather, they are excited and engaged. Now, let us listen from Dr. Syam about his impressions as somebody from outside the system.
Thank you, Dr. Srihari, all the distinguished participants. Sabko namaskar, and good afternoon to all. I think Srihari has given me a free pass. I'm free to say anything. So that's what he said. I asked him what exactly. I almost feel like election observer going around the polling booths and trying to gain as much insight about it. So my observations that I should say about this FOLU Food Systems Summit 2025 one, of course, 79 presentations in posters, participation from 19 states, spread over 2 days in 4 halls. Actually, and the way it was managed was really mind-boggling. I never seen this kind of workshop or seminar, whatever you call it, where the time management was so precise. So that really caught my attention. It is actually the poster template that they sent for the presentation. I think they are also experimenting it for the first time. So you are given a template, and whatever you want to say, you have to fit it into that. So you can't go beyond that. So there is a 15-minute time you will have to, and you learn how to do that. It's a very good experience. I would really like to congratulate you. That is, and I hope that in other seminars or workshops that if I am involved, I would recommend this thing. The only thing is that please don't force this Canva thing. I mean that we would like to do. There are other ways of doing the posture, because at the end I was attempting this Canva program, and at the end they say, okay, you have to pay 2,000 rupees. I mean to finish off that if you want to get your poster. So thank you. I said thank you. No. As I said, the time management was excellent. And the supporting facilities, they were all precise, up to mark. I really would like to congratulate you, the very polite crew, staff. Then certain sessions really caught my attention. And the first day itself, the Women in Agriculture session, what really caught my attention was that the one statement that women need respect and they need to be empowered with a smartphone. That is really a striking statement. You give a smartphone to a women entrepreneur and she can do wonders. That is, so I think you probably made that statement. It really caught my attention. And other thing that in most of the sessions, some of the people after presenting their poster, they wanted to showcase something else, case studies, 3-minute, 4-minute reels. There should be a space for that. They do have. And I think the FOLU platform can host it actually. Next thing is that if that is there, then at leisure also people can see that. Case studies are short reels. Yeah, that's one thing that need to be considered. The key takeaways, I mean, something that what I noticed was that I'll just some of the random statements that I note down. I don't claim to be what you call Hanuman or what you call some kind of superpower, able to see all the presentations in simultaneously. That's not Shaktiman, something like that. No, whatever I could. And the key takeaways one is that the cost of production in organic farming is definitely higher as compared to traditional inputs in input-oriented agriculture, traditional input-oriented agriculture, which is true actually. The remuneration that you get from organic farming is not commensurate with the system, so that is a key statement. Then the certification process needs to be simplified by NCO. I mean, we need to make it more simplified. And another presentation, powerful presentation by Dr. Adib Karyappa from CIMET. I mean, he said that the long gestation period for carbon credits is actually a dampener for the farmers. And the support price that needs to be given should be at least $25 to $30. That's what you give for thing like biochar. And agriculture produce, he says that it's only $8 or something, which is not an incentive. So something has to be, you need to think about that. And small technological innovations, many of the persons, I mean many of the delegates have presented. Something that caught my attention was the small technical, like vertical Machan trellis in Jharkhand. I think my friend over presented that. Was very, that was very impressive, a small thing. And then the multi-layer nutritional gardens from Himachal, temperate regions like Himachal Pradesh, small thing but very relevant. If you're able to maintain the organic matter or even increase that, that's a very big thing. Then food forest from Kerala, my friend Reggie, we had a lot of discussions on that, and he's a very unassuming person, but past 10-15 years he's been working tirelessly, and more than 400 food forests across the state of Kerala alone, from 3 cents to even up to 3 acres. So he has been instrumental in that, and he has won several awards, sitting quietly, my friend. Then somebody was talking about this tonic for coconut chutney made from very simple thing, but if it is effective, that will be a real game changer. And one lady from Madhya Pradesh was talking about a simple combination of seasonal vegetables and commercial crops like chilies, red gram, cowpea, turmeric, marigold, and all managed in one season. You earn up to 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees. I mean, simple combination, but that would really improve the income of the farmer. It was impressive. Then innovative restoration techniques for dryland areas using fruit crops. That was again by Reggie in degraded landscape here said. But again, one statement that Dr. Jamir was telling today, that pilot projects looks very impressive. Sometimes it may seem like it is a very what's a big takeaway or something, but it may not because it's under incubated conditions, under a greenhouse condition. When you expand it, upscale it, it may not be, it may not work the way we want it. That is a very important thing that we need to say. Some of these innovations, please try to, if you can, able to upscale it and make a difference. So I also suggest that a small booklet like what I've been talking to Sri Hari, something if you can identify some of the very pertinent takeaways that you feel that could be maybe translated both in the regional language, English and the Hindi, and that could be welcome, and FOLU could take the initiative. So these are some of the things, and I also forgot regarding food and other things. I also need to make a statement. Food generally was very good, very we enjoyed it, but I thought that when we were having lunch outside, there's a long queue waiting for the rotis, because with good intention only they wanted to serve it hot, but it was not possible. So, but whereas in upstairs it was already there, so that is a small thing. And yesterday somebody was telling the transportation system, they were actually transported to a different hotel because he didn't know about it and they had to find their way back. So those kind of small things could be noted. I'm very critical about these things. So yeah, but on the whole it has been a wonderful experience. Thank you, and I would like to congratulate everyone. Thank you once again. Namaskar.
Thanks, Dr. Syam, especially for those critical comments. We take it as our learnings. So thank you, my partners, and Dr. Syam. So I'm here to go forward. Thanks a lot. So now we are moving to the culmination, most critical part of this, where we are taking this, where we are planning to take, and it's very much a draft. I would like these chairs to be removed, and so that the presentation can be visible for everyone. No, not to you, Sampriti. Be seated, please. They are making the arrangements. So the presentation can be visible well. Let me tell you, let me invite the team, Aman and Mini, or Mini and Aman, for the presentation. And this is the first draft of thought of where we would like to take this. And I'm saying this is not even the tip of the iceberg, much smaller than that. But this is what we want to socialize with you. This is what we want to, we want to improve and improvise with you. And I leave it to both of you.
I would like to take a few seconds to respond to our Sabarmatee ji, because that's very important for in this context itself. I met Sabarmatee, I would like to call her Sabarmatee only, in 2014 when as two PhD students happened to be in a single room for a conference in Chidambaram. At that time, she was not Nari Shakti Award winner or Padma Shri. And I was a very frustrated government employee doing PhD, wondering why government is not doing anything for the organic farming and why the farmers are not converting to organic farming. And I was actually the PhD, I was set out for PhD in that angry mode, to be frank. And that night, I was talking to, she happened to be there, she was doing PhD with Irma on SRI. So she was not that keen about talking about her PhD. Instead, she started talking about the mission she had taken, that father-daughter duo taken up. In Orissa, they have converted a large extent of barren land, even the grass was not there, converted to the self-sustaining ecosystem, which supported animals. A pond appeared, even when animals started coming, and she also supported the community, women around that. protecting, ensuring their livelihood, their dignity. And I was like wondering, we talked about, both had sessions next day, we talked up to 2 o'clock that day. And I was wondering, and actually that was a very, very life-changing moment for me. I got so inspired that after that night, I never lost hope in agroecology transition, to be frank. Whenever they were that much inspiring, that story was. One more sentence about that. You know why her organization got the name Sambhav? It is because when they started this, everyone around her, the world around her told her that, ye to asambhav hai. So she wanted to make it, so let it be Sambhav. She made it and made the organization name Sambhav. And I will cherish this friendship forever. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. So now we are going to this one. So there are cases. It's not Asambhav. So we don't have to talk about the complexity. Everyone has detailed that. Now we have identified the complexity is multidimensional, multi-layered. Now it is time to start engaging with it. When we have to redefine our purpose first, we have to redefine our purpose, think differently, cultivate new mindset, then change the stories. When you change the narrative, everything else will change. The power relationships will change. They will rewire the policies to that. Research and development, the investment into this will change. And ultimately, the behavior across sectors will change. All the value chain, subsystems will change. And ultimately, bringing about landscape change and a change in the food system to make it a just, reliable, and resilient and sustainable one. But it will not start there. It will change according to climate change, according to the global settings. So that's why we made it as a helix. It will start reinventing itself later. So we know that this is possible. So what is missing in that? As everyone has spoke about, there is a very, very subtle repository of knowledge out there, persons, institutions, and the knowledge is immense. No? The massive number of smallholder farmers, their experiments, the knowledge they gained over years, there is no need, there is a lack of a unified portal to collect them and disseminate them. And we need to, this is time to think about connectors beyond categories. And the food system hub we are proposing is trying to bring this change. So these are the core functions of the food system hub: knowledge integration, information dissemination, and stakeholder engagement. The food system summits and the food system hub, they are not mutually exclusive, they are complementary. What we are feeding into food system summit will be going into the food system hub, and the insights from the food system hub will feed into next regional and national food system summit. So food system hub is a virtual platform to unite all of us, whereas the food system summit is physical space to meet. So now, this is only an introduction. The core of the FSH, the basic architecture of FSH will be explained by my colleague, Aman.
Thank you, Mini, and good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Mini, for setting the context. With this slide, I would like to explain how this portal will slowly grow into a shared platform. It will bring together state actors, which we are meaning national and state government initiatives, and non-state actors, such as practices and initiatives by the NGOs, other organizations, and individuals. This slide shows the process starting from the bottom. First, we will conduct a desk review for state actors. These government initiatives will then be added to the portal after geotagging and mapping them using the modified DPSIR framework, which Mini will explain in the next slides. At the same time, to strengthen policy engagement, we also need initiatives and practices from the ground. For this, we are drawing from presentation and practices shared in the previous year's FSS and we will continue to use inputs from this year's presentations as well. We strongly encourage all of you, especially those who play a key role in shaping policies, to share and submit your initiatives once the portal goes live. Having said that, data from both state and non-state actors will go through geotagging and modified DPSIR framework. This will help us build a systematic database for each actor. Over the time, the portal will become a platform for policy engagement, a space for researchers to conduct studies, and a resource for policymakers to design new policies, along with many other uses that we may not even foresee today. Furthermore, this portal will not be limited to what I have just mentioned. It will also serve as a compendium of policy briefs, allowing you to access and extract information in a well-categorized manner. Then comes the socialization and stakeholder integration part. Through this, the portal will provide a platform for stakeholders to engage with each other, validate one another's stories by sharing and commenting on them. This will also open opportunities to collaborate, adopt existing practices, and adapt them into different contexts. Here, these are the co-creators, which are state and non-state actors such as farmers, FPCs, FPOs, civil societies, organizations, and so on. They can register in the portal and contribute.
So here we are seeking your support, a help to co-create this space for all of us. So we represent largely the non-state initiative. You can share your resources, your knowledge products, publications, articles, posters, podcast, in whichever form. Right now, the current version itself supports all of those up to videos. However, our vision ahead is to make a voice assisted content, NIA enabled voice assisted content creation and searchable mechanism, and a mobile first display and voice first searchability, so that, and multilingual live translator, so that we know the ultimate users, the content creator, both the content creators and the users of the platform. We think it will be the CSOs, CSO workers, and farmers who may not be roaming around with an open laptop. So we really need to reach out to them through making it a mobile-first version. All this a little ambitious. It may take time, but this is quite doable with the technology we are having right now. This is just to show the sheer complexity of the mission we are going to go. Hari, during the form of planning this summit around food production systems, Hari asked us to create a dendrogram. So I thought, as an agriculture background, I thought it is better to start with a production system and a commodity-based one. So I started commodity, because the 1500 handbook of agriculture was our Bible. So I started with commodity-based one. And the last row, can you see, that says cereals and millets. Even after that, it will go to multiple classification of cereals and millets, from that multiple practices. So I'm just showing it to know the intensity of the complexity of this food systems. So yeah, of course, these natural animals do not check political maps. So we are going to aim agroclimatic zone-based classification. However, we may not be familiar with which agroclimatic zone they belong to. And we also need to rush with the federal system of our government. So we need to enter the state, then districts, almost 800 plus district. Within that, when you select the particular district, it will ask you for a block level data. And when you select that data, it will automatically pick which agroclimatic zone you belong to. Or when this is put up, this is important, when the final product is there, when you click a particular point in this map, it will tell you which are the organization working on which aspect, which theme, and where to find them, how to collaborate with them. And if you are not putting your data there, it will be, maybe there is a chance that your work may not be amplified. This is another step we are going to take. As till now, the research and analysis have been the domain of academia. we are going to take decentralize and democratize them with a framework called DPSIR, commonly known as DIPSA, which was actually used by EIA for environmental policy advocacies to suggest what we can do based on this. I'm not going to the definition, but now we are using it in food system analysis. Here, this is for, we are doing a retrospective analysis. What happened? What was driven? What drove this response? What were the pressures? Which state, which production, or which subsystem it impacted? And that led to this response. And why it is important? This could be applied from a farm level to national, regional, whichever level you can. One, if the outcome of that initiative does not speak to the drivers, if you feel that that is not addressing the drivers you started with, there is a problem with that. So then you can start redesigning it, rethink it, seek help, seek expertise, and we can do that. That happened also in ICDS and all. So there is a standard definition for it, and we have modified the definition. And in that content creation form, there will be a small explainer which will tell you this, and we will also come up with the terminologies which can replace this. If you find it a little difficult to comprehend, we will find some simple terminologies which will bring out the information, which will still be talking about this categories, the definitional boundaries. With the help of our partners and our FOLU leadership, Nandakumar sir, Jayahari and all, we have actually mapped over 900 policy responses by Union Government of India, which directly or indirectly influence the food system. Some of them were toward the core. It's like annual ring of a, Syam sir will be able to explain with the annual rings of a tree. It is towards the core. You have there were some programs which were very food system oriented. The core of the concept was food system, and there were some other programs which are on the periphery or margins, which were not conceived as a food system program, but as an impacted it in multiple ways. So if we are, because food system is, the discussion is going to be around food system in future. So if you can conceive a program with a food system focus, it will make the core stronger and harder, and India can stand tall and strong. So this is the demo version. You will land in a home page, and from the home page, you can see that there is an icon called Let Us Create Together. It will directly take you to the content creation page. If you are not a registered user, it will take you to the login page, and then the rest of things, Aman will explain. This is the process flow of that content creation, co-created content. Once you prepare your knowledge product, create a user ID and a password, and log in through, submit the content, whichever format you would like to have. It will go for an internal review. If it passed through the first quality check process, all the compliances of a fundamental requirement for that material, then it will be sent to external review. Because this is such a huge topic, so it will go to different experts. Once they say yes, it will go to the database. Otherwise, it will be redirected back to the creator for modification and resubmission. So Aman will explain with the video how we can.
Mini, I would like to one thing. So to create or add your inputs, the login and registration is needed, and apart from them, you can directly see the content and read it. उसके लिए आपको register करने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. लेकिन we would highly encourage you to incorporate your inputs and suggestions. This is the home page. So there we have this. And sir, Syam sir has mentioned that can we create the reels or the case studies. Here we have the options to add the videos and documentations. We have the case studies, policy briefs, presentations, then we will incorporate. After that, To register or to log in, first we will go to the login and register. Here we will have to register here. Click on the register here. It will show you the very small form to register yourself. We tried to kept it very small. We have removed so many things so that you can easily register, and it will not take too much time. We have the two options to register. Either you can use your mobile number or the email. Then you'll have to add your password, confirm it. We have the options of gender, date, year of birth. Then you have to add your first name, middle name, and last name. We have not kept as necessary mandatory points. After that, there is the options to select your sector, profession, organization, country, state, districts, then block. And if you want to be a creator, then you have to click on the want to be a creator point, and after that there is a agree to the terms and conditions, and after that you will get the use captcha and create account. To add your content, there was one option to let's create together, but that is not working right now. So we have another option to go to dashboard, and there is an option to create the post. There you can go, and after that this option will let you to the portal where we will have the things or the initiatives where we will put the DPSIR framework or the stories.
So you can start with a title, very captivating title. You need to prepare the document beforehand. Copy paste your title, copy paste a short summary which will invite the authors to whether to read that or not. Then whether it is, you have to stop. The speed is not matching with mine. So. So it will ask you whether it is which region, national, subnational, or regional, and when you select the state, it will go to which state, which district, which block, and there will be a multi-select option for that, definitely, because of the work of Pradhan, and yesterday also I was talking to Khandelwal, sir, after seeing your presentation during the last FSS, I realized that without multi-select option, this will not work. We need to, now we are in a tough position to find out a way to address that. So then it will ask for which are the drivers, impact, response, and right on the side you will get a eye icon. There will be an explainer for that, what you mean by those things. And you have to enter the outcome, then start creating content. So we are also, the thing is that nothing happens in isolation. So we are also responding to sustainable development goals, at least till 2030, we need to respond to SDGs. So there will be a multi-select option for which are the SDGs this particular initiative is responding to or engaging with. Then there will be another thing called action track. This is important because UN, from 2021 onwards, UN has been organizing a global UN Food System Summit every alternate year, and they have formulated 5 action track. So you can select, again multi-select, which are the action tracks your initiative is responding to.
Hari, it's been asked you to that why are you taking these posters, no? So we have the content part here. This is the reason why we are getting all the initiatives in the posters form. So it will be easy for us to incorporate all the things in one place and put those initiatives into this framework and then analyze it. After putting all the information in this format, you will get the output like, just a minute.
This is a demo version. It will be improved. It won't be this time.
Here you can include your pictures, references, videos, all the things. After that, you will get an option to attach your presentations, videos, any kind of attachments you can put here.
You can put the link also. You can save the draft and come back.
See, after incorporating your initiatives, it will go to the under review section, and after the approval of reviewers, it will go to the published or revision requested if there will be any comment from the reviewer.
There goes your story. Your story, it will be more dynamic, more interactive, and there is your analysis about yourself. So this is what we are broadly trying to do, and the author name will be there, the organization name will be there, your sensitive information will not be revealed like email or other thing, but this information is required for the authenticity and credibility of the information we are putting in. There is this very famous popular filmy dialogue from Spider-Man with great response, with great power it
comes with the
great responsibility. So we need to be very, very, you should believe in yourself, your story, and you should know that it's not confined to a room or something, it's going to a global search platform, and people can reach out to you, you can collaborate with the similar studies, and it will be there out there for others to share and learn. So right now, we have two kinds of resources as of now. As I said, we have formulated some 900 and plus responses which created, or which influenced India's food system transformation. We are trying to put it in this framework. Once it is done, we will try to upload all those original circulars, whichever we are able to retrieve, original circulars. It itself, every topic can be a starting point for a PhD. So in 1950s, 60s, how it happened, how ICDS, I was talking last year, the ICDS came because 1974, the government of India declared children as national assets. The ICDS came as a circular in the following year. So all those things, this will be there. And all the points are there. So you can leverage the information in multiple ways. You will give you multiple entry points.
So before we move to the Q&A and suggestions, I would like to share a few important points. In yesterday's discussion, Padma Shri Rahibai ma'am mentioned that knowledge and experience transfer is extremely important. And with the collective support of all of you, FSH can become a strong platform for this purpose. Further, during our signature session, we had an all-women panel. A very critical point emerged. Women often do not get sufficient time to learn digital tools due to their responsibilities towards family care. Keeping this in mind, in the later version of this platform, we are trying to make learning as simple and accessible as possible, so that anyone can learn and apply these insights in any language. Another important point that came up was that to solve any problem, we must first identify the gaps. This gap identification can be effectively addressed through policy engagements between state and non-state actors, and this platform can play a crucial role in enabling that process. And now I would like to conclude by referring to one of the discussions where Hari mentioned that this could be the beginning of the socializing. I would like to slightly reframe that thought and say this is not just the beginning of a socializing, but the beginning of a meaningful collaboration, shared learning, and collective action towards sustainable change. Thank you.
We can take quick 3-4 questions, or you can reach to us with your suggestions about it.
Two key questions. One, is there any eligibility criteria for any of the organizations to start putting their content? And second, does anyone validate the sanctity of the sources and the content that has been put there?
No, there is no eligibility. It can be individual, it can be organization, it can be expert institutions, whatever. But definitely there will be a validation process, 3-tier validation process. The first validation is by a scrutiny about the minimum requirements, whether the informations are correct up to its, type of responses. Second validation is we are expecting to have a set of reviewers who constantly will review, and we will need out of the 20-25 minimum 4 or 5 people say that yes, this can go to the platform. And the third set comes by socializing that particular thing. The other members of this platform from the region, from across the country can say that no, this is wrong, and too many negatives will go again back to the review process. So it's a constant, continuous live review, but it has 3 or 4 steps.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
How many days required for this whole process? Means if after submission?
Yeah, it's generally, we would like to make it very quick. By submission itself, you can see that under review will start coming over there. Send back will coming over there. So the moment you submit it, it will come under some other categories. But the category will keep changing. People can even review it.
Yeah, thank you to the FOLU team. A couple of thoughts which are coming from the session before, which summarized and kind of said that, there needs to be diversity and decentralization. So if that's the principle, then we have to walk the talk even in the design of the hub, which means that the hub will need to have several spokes, particularly at the regional level and sub-regional level, where you can even incorporate language diversity and shared agroecological realities. So I would urge not to be so centralized. The other thing which you mentioned in your dendrogram, which was based very much on production systems. If you look at food in India, there's a lot of non-produced food, which is the wild edible plants, uncultivated, which are also categorized as neglected, underutilized species, even fish catch. So I don't think we should look at food only as production. My third reaction is that when you talk about the DIPSR, you're making huge assumptions about the nature of the environment, which allows everybody to speak freely on different aspects of where food futures need to be envisioned. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Both your first 2 points have been really taken, and thanks for those suggestions. And so many have to be. We have just started. That's why we said. And the last, yes, DIPSR. Thanks to our FOLU India lead, Mr. Vijay for rightly suggesting DIPSR to try it out. Maybe you want to add one point about DIPSR, Vijay?
Yeah, thanks. Of course, the framework was originally intended to deal with environmental systems, for instance, mining or extractive industries and so on. Some of the definitions have been modified, as Hari has mentioned, but because it's being applied in a different domain, we need to understand what is meant by each of the terms. For instance, I saw just now in pressures, the pressure in one case was shown as the effort by fertilizer companies to do something, that is shown as a pressure. But it is not that kind of pressure we are looking at. The pressure we are looking at is a physical or biochemical or chemical pressure, real pressure rather than a kind of psychological pressure. So as we go along, we will maybe provide, guidance which will be co-created, because we ourselves are new in this domain. It's a different domain. The idea only is to create a workable format. I am not sure that that it will have all the academic rigor that the original framework had in its domain. The effort is to move as close as possible to it, and maybe somebody will come up with an even better framework. So that is a caveat I would like to put on the use of DPSIR. But as I said, it's a shared co-creation that we are all doing. And we welcome all of you to help us in understanding and exploring the framework. Yeah.
Thanks, Vijay. The last two questions.
Sir. Sir, so better we understood about the food system hub. I have just to inquire whether is it possible to have some memorandum of understanding with some institution like our State Agriculture University in the area of education, training, capacity building, or participatory research like that. So is there any possibility to have MOU?
We are actually thinking about it. Nandakumar sir was rightly pointing it out, like we should have a broader understanding with ICAR about its use case, not basically with the individual, but in a broader sense. So we will come back to you about multiple levels of engagement, where the memorandum works, where a registration works, where a partnership works. We may need regional, and actually CEEW was mentioning to us, Apoorve, I don't know whether he left or not, they were mentioning us to create a format of doing an FSS, how an FSS can be done. So we are figuring it out, what kind of capacities and contributions can come in.
Any area you feel deep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will come back to you. Thank you, Mini and Aman. Wonderful presentation. So, yeah, the 2 days of event is closing here, and a lot of effort has gone into it. And I think, being somebody who have put very less effort in it compared to the others whom I am going to refer to, I am someone who is entitled to say thanks. I thank our chief guest and guest of honor, special guest, Dr. M.L. Jat, Padma Shri Sabarmatee, for joining us in the closing event. Please give them a big clap. Dr. K Nayak and Dr. Syam Viswanath for their participation, comments, and Dr. Anjani Kumar. I thank Padma Shri Raibai Popere and Dr. Gagnesh Sharma for being our guests in our inaugural plenary. It was a wonderful finance plenary. And we got it mentioned a couple of times during our partners, and Dr. Syam was reviewing it. And I thank Dr. Ruchika, Dr. Aparna Dua, Dr. Apida Mukherjee, and Dr. Adit Kariyappa, who is still here with us, for making a wonderful session. Of course, the women plenary was also really inspiring. Ayushi, my friend and colleague, is here. Kuntaliga Kumbhakar, Dr. Angalakshmi, Dr. Chubbamenla is here. Thanks for joining us and making it so, inspiring and insightful. We are really blessed with 3 people to give us proper guidances, corrections, comments, and connections. Without them, the FOLU functioning itself becomes difficult. I thank you, Vijay, for being the FOLU India lead and giving us guidance for a long time. And I would say Nandakumar sir probably must have worked more than me to conduct this event. And, many times he used to say that, Hari, don't be ambitious, let us call these people, let us go here, let's get it. Thanks, sir, for the whole efforts and your, proper guidances here. And also, Ajit sir, I don't know, I can't see Ajit sir. Anyway, yeah, Ajit sir is outside. So, thanks for his all contributions, guidances to this. So, really appreciate your guidances, comments, and all the, all your contributions. FOLU is a partnership. It's not an institution. We were translating that, into Hindi. Vijay rightly wanted to get the name itself translated. So the proper term was Gadbandhan, right? Yeah, it's a Gadbandhan. And we have 4 core partners who really hard work for FOLU. You have seen 26 sessions happening one by one, meticulously managed, time, and they started interacting with you. They got the right, overview speakers, and they spent actually their valuable time to really make it done. I thank WRA India team, Dr. Sampriti, Dr. Seema, Dr. Shivanki, Nopur, Kritika. I missed some names, sorry for that. But, without your efforts, it wouldn't have happened. Meenakshi, I don't know whether Meenakshi is here. CEEW team, Apoorve, Chandan, Palak. Yeah, I don't know whether I am missing some name, but all the CEEW team. And Avro and Avishek from RRAN, Manish and team from TERI. Big claps, please. Now, I would like the FOLU India team to come to the stage. You really need to be visible. They were a little invisible most of the time. Neha Jain, who is managing this particular program. Devishri, who was the battery power behind the implementation. Aman and Mini, who is going to take care of the future of this event. Neha Shukla for great bookkeeping and finance support, administrative support. Parul Jain, who is managing our climate program, who is the power behind that book, release, and the future of the program. Shweta for the wonderful presentation and setting the stage and all other support. I'm only mentioning their highlights. Many sleepless nights somebody spent to make impressive, visible. It is Manish. We got a jump from outside FOLU to be part of FOLU team for 3 days. And we are blessed to have her with us, a hardworking, committed, imaginative, creative intern, Purva. Somebody who is solid like a rock, but sometimes get a little angry to me. But take care of all the admin, science, budget engagements and all. And, and also, and kind of a coordination support, Arijit. Actually, a real leadership has been taken. Somebody was unhappy to be sick during the last food system summit. So that that person could work only from far away, and also joined little bit and said that no, things are not going well. So this time that person told, Hari, just sit back. This is going to be taken care by us, and I am here, and we will reach out to you whenever we want. And whenever I want to talk to Nandakumar sir or someone, and come on, Pallavi, you give a great leadership over here. Of inspiration from you, and good things about this from you. And I heard some negatives, and I'm sure there must have something gone wrong. If anything has gone good, give the credit to these people and those three sitting down. And if anything has gone wrong, believe me, it's my mistake. Thank you, everyone. Big claps to him. Sir, you can join us for a photograph. Vijay, Nandakumar sir, please come for a photograph. And at the end, I thank all the spirited participants and the overview speakers for making this really done by your participation. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Enjoy the networking tea and keep in touch with us. Thanks a lot.